Hello and welcome to Talking Dogs on a Monday. As you can see, I am joined by two very wise men as we look back on what was a wonderful weekend in Irish Greyhound racing. Barry Caul is stepping in for the exiled one, who really is exiled today. So Barry is going to offer some new insights, and of course, Dr. Simon. It's that time of year, Simon. You appear representing your great friends and colleagues at BresBet. A busy, busy man, I'm sure, as always, but taking time out to look back at the Easter Cup. Sadly, as chairperson of the Undulation Fan Club. She's not in the competition this year. She seems to be retired from action, but there is still so much to look back on from this BresBet Easter Cup. It's a cracking competition, and things weren't again straightforward on Saturday night.
No, that seems to be the case. I mean, I had a chat with Carl obviously last week about the sort of the state of the competition and his particular fancies and my fancies, and none of those fancies are still in the field here. And I have to be honest, though, when you suggested I might be making money from punting, it's definitely not on the Easter Cup so far.
Yeah, that was all fair. We weren't going to bring it up on air. We weren't going to bring up old wounds on air, but you've done it yourself. We are now looking at it, Simon. That Hope's Teddy, following another flawless display, is the 3-1 clear favourite with yourselves.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know that when even at the outset of the competition, Carl had him on side, and again after the first round, when there was there was some big dogs struggling to get through in fourth place. Even then, Carl was still very strong on his chance. Then he looks the obvious one at the moment. Just the way he's been performing this year, the way he's been breaking, and that always puts you in good stead if you get out and clear in around anywhere. But that seems so, particularly at Shelbourne. So yeah, he seems to be the one that's the obvious one at the moment.
Yeah, Barry, you were there at Shelbourne Park on Saturday night along with myself. Good crowd, good atmosphere, cracking racing, and again, Hope's Teddy was pretty flawless.
Yeah, it was a great crowd, great atmosphere as well. Hopes Teddy, yeah, again, like he's unbeaten in 2025. He's unbeaten, obviously, in the competition. Ian, I thought it was a bit of a test from. I think we spoke before racing. Check for cash. He can go up well on his day. And Tars Massa, I look for Jeff Parnaby. He's been running out of the skin since his return. And yeah, it was a bit of a real race to the bend, but he made it comfortably enough. And look, he's getting the 550-yard trip very, very well indeed. So look, he's got a cracking draw next week in the semi-finals. We'll look forward to it. I just thought this weekend, or the weekend gone past, sorry, the check for cash could hold him up, but look, he's got stunning early pace as he showed when he done that 80 and 52 run for the sprint. And yeah, look, he was my fancy at the start of the competition, and I haven't changed. He's running out of his skin, and he looks the one to beat.
Yeah, he certainly does. In the contest itself, Tars Masai went up strongly from six. We sort of highlighted that before racing that was always going to happen. I think most people were predicting that. But again, when Hopes Teddy has your inside line, he's not an easy dog to get around because he is moving with such alacrity around those opening two bends. Tarzan Masai did a 340, Hopes Teddy did a 340, and yet Hopes Teddy goes round with a pretty comfortable lead. In behind, the Bull Falcon was the one that came through the pack to grab third spot. Nothing else really counted in the contest. Very straightforward. And again, Hopes Teddy setting the standard with a 29.56 return. Barry, I just noticed there that many of the races on the night were rated 20 slow. That wasn't rated 20 slow, which surprises me somewhat.
Yeah, I didn't know that myself until the next morning I got home. But as you know, I was doing a bit for Greyhound Racing Ireland at the track, and I was on the infield, and the rain certainly did come down around the 7th or 8th race. I can vouch for that because I had a new jacket and it doesn't look very new anymore, I must tell you. But yeah, the rain certainly came down around about 9:30 or so. It was quite heavy. So yeah, you can see why they marked it 20 slow. So look, it's hard to sort of explain how from 15 minutes it can go 3 lengths the other way. So look, you can maybe mark Hopes Teddy's run down maybe about 10 or so if they're going to get the track back 20 for the rest of the races. But look, this time of year, if you're doing sort of 29.50s out in front for the 550-yard trip, you're going to be very, very hard to pick up.
Yeah, we see it every year at this time of year. It's sort of 29.40 is the benchmark, and later in the year, sure, we're talking about 29.10s. It's funny how it happens. It just sort of speeds up through the year and whatnot. Simon, Hopes Teddy again, justifying favoritism the other night. Any word on was there any sort of market moves for him? Was there any good support in terms of heat betting or anti-post?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think we've seen I think my understanding is we've seen sort of a spread of money across the whole field really up until now, and I don't think we are particularly worried about anything. It's one of those sort of nice positions to be in at the moment from a
Yeah.
bookmaking point of view.
Absolutely. That's where we want these bookmakers in a very happy place. Let's move on to the second heat. Just before we do, just want to mention Hazelhill Bucko. He went wrong in that contest. I know he was brought home and he's been looked after. I just want to send out our best to Lucy Roach. I know she was very upset the other evening. Her laurels runner up Hazelhill Bucko, but he will be given the best of care, and we'll keep you updated. On to the second heat of the BresBet Easter Cup, and Clonbrine Treaty. Simon, the defending champion, of course, a sensational greyhound seeking a fifth classic, but he did suffer a gracilis injury at the back of the year. One suspects that he was probably rushed back and that he still needs racing. It was evident the other night that he's probably still a little bit off match fitness. He showed all his early speed, he showed all his strength and all his track craft, but then when he got to the third bend, it was like that petrol gauge was running low.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I think worth saying what an incredible dog he's been over the years. I remember speaking to you last year, Ian, before the final, and you suggested that the 8-1 on Clonbrine Treaty in the final wouldn't last very long, which it didn't. But yeah, the question is, how quickly can you regain fitness, or do you just with time, as we see with the dogs and horses, do you just lose an edge with time because that's the nature of aging, and it'll be interesting to see because my instinct has always been if he hits the front, then he's going to win. So it's interesting to see dogs coming past him. But I would never put anything past him. Again, if he comes on another league this week, let's see where we get. It'd be amazing to get him in another final.
Yeah, I suspect it's more of a fitness issue than it is with sort of losing his brilliance, because the pace was there. Barry, he really didn't have the right to go round in front from the start because Barefoot and Song and Hawkfield Blue both pinged out of the middle. Clonbrine Treaty, as he often does, gave them a length or two of traps, but by that corner he's on the outside, and the way he drove that opening corner suggests that the ability is still there. But fitness, maybe a bit like ourselves, Barry. It's just not quite there.
No, it's certainly not there in my case. But yeah, look, there's two schools of thought for me with Clonbrine Treaty. Look, he's an incredible greyhound. He really is. Like, everybody dreams about having a greyhound good enough to win a classic. He's won 4. Like, that's incredible, and he's every chance of going and making it 5 here. His record around Shelbourne Park is not great. He's only won 3 times from 20 starts around Shelbourne Park, and that has to be a concern.
Including a classic.
Yes, it does include a classic, but still, he's been beat 17 times, and I know he's racing the best of company. However, you're probably a little bit disappointed again last week. Going, look, he's had the run, he should be coming on now. But if you look back at his win in this last year, it was the semi-final where he sort of stepped up a gear from what he had previously done, and then in the final again, he was very, very good. So, look, he's getting that little bit older, but if they're planning the same route as last year, hopefully next week he can peak. Look, he's a great greyhound, and he has that pace to the third bend. I think it's just fitness now, so he still has the raw ability. I thought Barefoot and Song had a chance in here. I just thought she'd lead up the inside runners. There wasn't much early pace in 1 and 2, although Riverside
it's the extra 25 yards into the corner that catches those types out, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, I was in the infield, and it's something you can't really see in the video, but she definitely just dabbed on the brakes a little bit going into the first bend, Barefoot and Song. But look, she's got 2 big dogs on her outside, so it's easy enough to see why. So look, she left herself with a lot to do, but she ran on well to snatch second place. But Hawkfield Blue for the McGee's, he's been an incredible dog for them, a real money spinner. And he's danced every dance, doesn't he? He's turned up in every big competition, and coming from off the pace, which is not usually his forte, from a poor enough draw in trap 4, you've got to be very impressed with him. 29.78 was marked 20 slow. I don't think it was quite as good as a run as Hope Steady. The clock says that, and to the eye it suggests that as well. But nonetheless, he's always a dangerous dog, and if he gets his box, if he was to make it through to a final, you're very, very hard to completely rule him out.
Yeah, absolutely. And Clonbrine Treaty was back in third spot. Again, we'll expect more from him. The ones that go out there were Superfast Gordon, I Am's a Wizard, and Riverside Scotch. On so to the third of the heats, and this was this was a race. Mairead's Prince was drawn on the outside, and I suppose the logic was, Barry, we referenced it prior to the contest. I tipped up Carmack King. I'm of a belief that he is a dog that improves for racing. I think he does need racing. We saw last year when he returned from a layoff, it took him a good 8 races to sort of get back to full. How would you say it? Sharpness, I suppose, is the way to phrase it. And again, he didn't look sharp the other evening. Mairead's Prince had beaten him in his prior start against him, and confirmed that form. I thought Randolph Scott's ran a big race. JT Cray's a little bit unlucky. He's just sneaking into this Easter Cup. He's showing loads of pace. The engine's very much there. And those were the three to go through. Mairead's Prince, Randolph Scott's, and JT Cray's, with Karma King back in fourth. But an interesting contest. And I suppose if you are true to form and true to recent form, if you are a student of the form book, there's every chance you may have backed Mairead's Prince because he had done everything right the previous 2 weeks from the same draw, Barry. Or similar draw, shall we say. He wasn't at six, but
similar draw, yeah. But he was a good dog at the back end of last year, wasn't he, Mairead's Prince? But he was comfortably beaten in a couple of occasions by Karma King. Karma King was, I think he was even leading him up at some stages into the back straight and going on to beat him. But just to touch on Karma King, I think he's been a shade disappointing, hasn't he? He was favoured to win your dad's race, the Michael Fortune Memorial Plate, around the back end of last year. He was very, very good in the quarterfinals. Didn't really fire for him in the semi-finals, and again in the final, he carried no luck. But into this year now, and I spoke to Owen on Saturday night before racing on camera, and he said, even last week, he said he does need a couple of races, and again he referenced that there last week. But he's had 3 races now, I think, and he's just not shown the same spark as he was last year. I thought he would clearly lead up JT Cray as a dog who's renowned for his 6-bend sort of exploits. I thought he'd lead him up comfortably and then get first run at Mairead's Prince, but it just didn't happen for him, and he ultimately was a little bit disappointing. I think they might step him up and trip now. I think the Shelbourne 600 is on the horizon, so he may just go for that. JT Craze, you spoke about him. He probably broke too good for his own good, didn't he? He took a flyer and then he ended up just in the middle of them as they went to the first bend. Maybe he'd be better off just getting a clear run in behind them. But he's one that you can't completely rule out. Randolph Scott's for Peter Cronin. Very well bred. Brett Lee by IU penalty. He's improving with each and every run. He's got good early pace. But look, Mairead's Prince, I think he's unbeaten since the start of the year. And he's absolutely flying. So I had a brief chat with Evan Donley just after the race. He was thrilled as well. So I'm delighted to be joined here by Evan Donley after Mairead's Prince keeps up his great form. Evan, you must be thrilled with that run.
Brilliant. Once he breaks, he's just something else, and he's on great form at the minute, so it's all going well at the minute. So
he's flying now. He's won his last 3. He's in the form of his life, isn't he?
In the form of his life, without a doubt. It's just great, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. And being a wide seed, you're going to be guaranteed 5 or 6 in the semi-final.
Yeah, that's a good thing about it as well. And when he's in 6, he's on form,
he's hard to beat. Listen, well done. He ran a cracker, and the best of luck in the semi-final.
Thank you. Thanks.
Cheers.
Simon, getting back to Heat 3, we heard the thoughts there of Evan Donley. Of course, Mairead's Prince is really flying and made the most of that kind draw on the outside. But these are 3 greyhounds that have progressed here. You couldn't rule any of them out.
No, absolutely not. We'll give a little mention with my Fergal O'Brien hat on to JT Craze, who's part owned by Lee Craze, who's one of Ferg's owners, owns a couple of horses that are in training now, Orchestra and Third Time Lucky. And as Barry says, you can't rule him out because he's a strong runner and has been getting into trouble. But with a clear run any day would be a danger. I agree. I think they largely see him as a 6-bend dog now, but that power that he has, we'll see if he manages to avoid trouble. So we'd love to see him progress. Really with a little bit of a selfish hat on, and that would be great for us and give us a bit of interest in the final there with a sort of at a different angle.
At 11-1 with yourselves, I think there's an each-way angle there because all he has to do is sneak through into 3rd spot next week, and then you're hoping for a load of early speed in the final. You're hoping for him to actually sit in behind and let them do their own damage out front and him sneak through because the engine is most certainly there. He's a very, very fast greyhound. But again, Mairead's Prince and Randolph Scott's both running very, very well. Randolph Scott's just isn't getting out in front in the 550-yard contest as yet, but there's still a huge run in him. You can tell just the way he's running. And so to the final heat. And obviously Trap 3 Untold Dollar came out of this race during the week. It left us with the view where the Laddie Da and Callaway Kinnegar were on the inside. And you suspected whichever of them got first run would probably win the competition or win the contest, but they are very similar in terms of their racing styles. They're also very similar into the corner, we found out, Simon, and they sort of did each other. And then you think, the outside 3 are going round in front, 1, 2, 3, nice and clear of the big 2 in the market. They'll just safely qualify. But it wasn't straightforward, this contest either. Yorkie Ollie looked to be absolutely in the perfect position to strike between the last two bends with Cushy the Best leading and sort of leading a gap up the inside, but Yorkie Ollie didn't get through it. He checked off, clipped the heels of Cushy the Best. All of a sudden, Mustang Fever arrives through. She switches wide off the last bend, goes round the outside. She hits the front, and somehow Cushy the Best gets back up to win. This wasn't an easy race to write a report on. It's probably easier to talk about it than write a report on it. This is what can happen in greyhound racing, Simon. It was enthralling to watch, and it threw up, I suppose, a very deserving winner, because Cushy the Best, while he did things right to get to the front, he also had to do things right to come from off the pace, having found trouble.
I mean, I think you're exactly right there. This is greyhound racing encapsulated, isn't it? You know, what you think might happen doesn't happen most of the time, but there are ways of there are ways of then of dogs with trouble runs getting back up there. But from our point of view, from a BresBet point of view, two of the three market leaders at the start of the competition drawn next to each other, you sort of think at least one of those will go through. But that's not the way it works, you know. So the Callaway dog and Deladida both out, but as you say, deserving winner. You can't watch that race and think anything otherwise, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Popping open the champagne and BresBet offices, I'd say. Barry, what do you think? It was an intriguing heat, and it was also it was compelling viewing.
Yeah, this race hurt me financially. It really did. I spoke to the very knowledgeable Gary Carey last week after racing, and we were just talking about Yorkie Ollie. He's frustrating, but he has the engine, and we just laughed and said to each other, he's the type of dog that you need to back when he's 8-1 in a race Sunday. So I got a bit of 7-1, and into the third bend, I was more than happy with myself. I thought he was going to drive up the inside, and he didn't. He checked off. Shades of maybe Coulivanny Hoffa against Spawn Warrior. Do you remember that in the Derby semi-final?
There was enough of a gap there, wasn't there?
I think so. I was quite comfortable he was going to go through, but he just checked off the outside. And look, in running punters, if we were betting in running in greyhound racing, there would have been 3 dogs that traded 101 here in this race, because Cushy the Best had a great lead down the far side. You're thinking, right, he's strong enough. He's a nice one for his sire as well. All for the Best. We've seen him well over 600 yards in Shelbourne Park on many of occasions. So he looked a likely winner down the back straight. Yorkie Ollie flies up the inside. Right, he's going to win. And then all of a sudden, Mustang Fever shoots around the outside. And she's going to win. And in fairness to Cushy the Best, he battled back. He's now won 4 of his last 6. Really, really improving greyhound. Yorkie Ollie, despite what he'd done, he's still only beaten the neck and a short head, you know.
Yeah.
But very, very frustrating. The Mustang Fever, she ran well there again for Sean Burke. But the big two, done each other no favours. I spoke to the bookmakers after race and said he must have had a right result there. He said there wasn't really that much money for both of them. He says
Barry just frozen there briefly. I suppose if you were going to back,
that was just the opinion of one, but as I said, 1 4 of his last 6, but good early pace, and he's very, very, very game. Yorkie Ollie, frustrating, has all the ability in the world.
Yeah, you were talking there about the big two, Deladida and Callaway Kinnegar, and I suppose if you're a fan of one, you're probably a fan of both, because they're very similar in terms of their racing styles and their strength. And I suppose that's why probably the money didn't come from one or the other, in the sense where a lot of punters were of the decision they couldn't actually split them up. If we learned anything from this contest, Simon, it probably was that Cushy the Best is more than a one-trick wonder. We've seen him dominate races in the past, and doing it all from the front. And on this occasion, he did meet adversity, and he got back up to score. And I really like that. Obviously, he started off with the best, really strong 600-yard greyhound, top-class performer. And Cushy the Best has inherited a bit of his grit and a bit of his strength.
Yeah, and that puts him obviously right in the mix. I mean, again, I think I probably admitted this to you last year. In sort of over the winter, I tend to lose a bit of an eye on Irish form, and so it's nice for me to get back to the Easter Cup and start looking over dogs that I'm perhaps not that familiar with. And yeah, I mean, this is another dog you'd love to own.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it. We have our 3 dogs going through. In behind them, Callaway Kinnegar ran a big race back and forth spot. He's only beaten a length out of the qualifying spots, and Deladida a length and a half further back. You can sort of put a pen through that form given those two, but I think it's still clear that they both have a huge engine and are both going to have a big 2025 if things go their way. We look to the semi-finals now. And it's safe to say, Simon, has a very different look to it than it did at the start of the competition. We're now at a stage where Hopes Teddy is the favourite at 3-1 with yourselves, 5-1 Cushy the Best, 7 Randolph Scots and Tarzan Amasai. It's 8-1 Hawkfield Blue Yorkie Ollie, and then at double figures, Clonbrine Treaty, Mairead's Prince, JT Craze is at 11, 14 the Bull Falcon, Mustang Fever 18, and the outsider of the party is Barefoot on Song at 25-1. We wouldn't rule out any one of them, such as the way this competition has gone and the fact that they're all very talented. Looking at the two semi-finals, Barry, are you with us again?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you broke up there just for a couple of minutes. We were getting some strange looking frozen faces from you, but I didn't want to reference them. Didn't want to highlight them. I've seen those faces myself in person, but generally at the end of racing after a good few at the bar. Let's go to the semi-finals of the BresBet Easter Cup. The first heat, Randolph Scott's Hawkfield Blue, Barefoot on Song, Yorkie Ollie, Clonbride Treaty, Mairead's Prince. It's all set for probably Clonbride Treaty to get it to the front again, Barry, and then see what's in behind. It's not straightforward for him. He's going to have to get on the bunny, and any one of the remaining five could win this.
Yeah, but you know what I think works in his favour in this race? There's no real huge finishers in the race. Now, I know Hawkfield Blue came from off the pace to pick him up comfortably enough last week, but you would expect Clonbride Treaty to step forward a little bit from that run. He's still done a 3:48 sectional last week after slightly missing the kick at the start. And look, that only puts him maybe a half a length behind the best of these from last week's run. So I think if he can get his trapping boots right, he could lead around here. And can you see any of these coming from maybe 3 or 4 lengths off him? I can't. So it's a tricky race. There'll be lots of different opinions. Randolph Scott has his draw. Hawkfield Blue is running well. Yorkie Ollie will still have his fans. And Mairead's Prince, like, he's running out of his skin so far. But I probably would just side with Clonbride Treaty.
Yeah, it's a hard one. Like it's probably the one week where it's really, last week you could either be cut or dry. Like he's either going to win or he's not going to win. This week it's a bit more sort of blurred because he should progress. So we're just wondering where he's going to be. Your own views, Simon. What do you see? How do you see this heat?
Yeah, I mean, I take Barry's point earlier, and I probably hadn't thought about it until someone with more knowledge than me brought it up. But actually, saying Clonbride Treaty didn't really look that impressive in the competition till this stage last year. And if that's the case, if we have gone forward and we've retained all the ability, then he does have, despite that record at Shelbourne, he has the ability to win this race and win it comfortably. And that would be great to see. To see a dog get through to a final and have the chance to win a fifth classic would just be, that would be some achievement. So I'd like that would make me happy. I thought Hawkfield Blue had been running very well and as a decent draw, but again, I couldn't be surprised by any of these things, to be any of these sort of possible outcomes, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think it's a wide open affair. Really is very hard to sort of pin anything down with any real confidence in that contest. Moving on to the second heat, I think we'll all probably be in agreement that Hopes Teddy will be a favourite here. Just to make up the race, obviously you're going to have Hopes Teddy, Cushy the Best, Tarzan Masai, and perhaps Mustang Fever going up well. The Bull Falcon and JT Craze stalking in behind. It's one of those races where it could be that much in between them at the second bend, but at the line it could be that much in between them. You know what I mean? It's going to be tighter at the finish than potentially it looks on paper. Hopes Teddy, I believe, will probably go round in front and set a strong gallop. But he won't have things easy at any point because the likes of Cushy the Best and Tarzan Masai will be pushing him. Mustang Fever won't be far away. And then, as I said, the two big finishers. Simon, what's your own view on this contest?
Yeah, I mean, you don't get to the semi-final of a competition as good as the Easter Cup without it being tough. So, for all that Hopes Teddy has been running incredibly well this year, it's not going to be one-way traffic. Having said that, if he gets out in the way that he's been getting out, it is down to everybody else to put on the pressure and catch him, and that's not going to be easy. But that's the beauty. We'll get to see that on Saturday. But that's my instinct is on all known form this year, that's what'll happen, and then we'll see if anything's capable of bridging that gap to him and going past him potentially. I doubt it, but it's possible.
He is running very well over the 550. It surprised me somewhat how well he is seeing it out, Barry. Just looking at the second semi-final as an overall package, it seems to be less. There seems to be less guesswork with this. We know how each of the 6 dogs will perform. Whereas in the first race, in the first heat, they're a little bit more inconsistent, or they're a bit more dependent on certain things going their way. Whereas in this race, you sort of know what's going to happen in terms of each of their own abilities and what they will do or what they won't do. It doesn't make it any easier to pick the winner, but I think Hopes Teddy will be in front.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at it at the card, you look at the sectionals from last week. 4 of the runners all done 340, amazingly, all 340 on the button. But I think Hopes Teddy really has more pace than any of his rivals from, say, the 525 traps into the first bend. I think that's where he he really picks up. But yeah, he's got to win 2 races here this week. He's got to win the race to lead. He has to win the race to lead around. And look, I know he led Tarson Massey comfortably enough last week, but Cushy the Best can go up well. Tarson Massey can also go up very well on occasions. He has to win that race first, and then he has to look in his wing mirrors and hope the Bull Falcon or JT Craze aren't within 4 or 5 of them at the 750 box, because he will have to hold off one of those. You imagine one of those is going to get a clear run in behind. So yeah, he's going to get on the back.
No, you're back.
Yeah, so look, he's going to be a short enough price, but he's got to do everything right. He should lead up the inside 3, that barring accidents. It's very, very hard to see him out of the frame. But just for those who are taking the short price about him, just remember 2 and 3 will be thundering home.
Yeah. I would have loved to have seen JT Craze and the Bull Falcon the other way around, and I think I may have had a nibble at Craze just from the, if he'd been in 2. He still may well clear the Bull Falcon. He's pretty trappy, is JT Craze, and if he does trap, it could actually work out very nicely for him, because you'd expect Hopes Teddy and Cushy the Best to get away on him, but he might have that little pocket of space in behind them, and he could turn a bit closer than he has been doing. Very interesting heat, a wonderful Easter Cup to look forward to on Saturday, 2 semi-finals. Simon, you're going to get over this year. You were definitely over last year.
Yeah, I was definitely over last year as BresBet bar bill at 10. There's still a possibility that I'll be over for this weekend. I know that Carl and Gary are coming over for the final, so we'll definitely have representatives there if not. But there's still a slight possibility, but I'm away the following week, so it's just whether the logistics fit. If not, I will definitely make it for the Irish Derby this year.
It's whether you're allowed to, is what you're saying.
Something like that.
We understand the language.
Yeah.
We've been there, Barry.
My hands are tied. Yeah, absolutely.
Simon, just what's going to win the Easter Cup?
I think Hope Teddy.
Barry.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Simon. I've got to say, Hopes Teddy. It's going to be very hard to keep out of frame this weekend, and then he could get an even better draw in the final. I know he's in 1 this weekend, but just to make up for the race. So, yeah, Hopes Teddy for me.
Yeah. Now, Dr. Simon, the good doctor, you are a busy man, so we believe you have to go. We are going to continue to waffle on for somewhat longer, talking about some potential Easter Cup challengers for 2026, but we're going to leave you be. Simon, a pleasure as always, and hopefully we'll see you in Shelbourne Park. We might help you with that bar bill this year.
Lovely. That would be great fun. Thanks very much, chaps. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Simon.
All the best.
Are you a visionary with a strong commercial mindset? Greyhound Racing Ireland is looking for you. Join our team as the Group Stadium and Commercial Director and lead the way in driving commercial growth and optimising operations across our 9 stadia. You'll oversee strategic commercial development and operational management, ensuring each venue is financially successful and delivers exceptional experiences for fans and stakeholders. If you have a passion for innovation and leadership, apply now and take your career to new heights with Greyhound Racing Ireland. Visit www.grireland.ie/careers to find out more and apply.
Yes, our thanks again to Dr. Simon for joining us from BresBet, looking ahead and looking back on the BresBet Easter Cup, a wonderful competition. But of course, it was also a very busy week elsewhere because the opening round of the Conn and Annie Kirby Memorial lit up Limerick on Saturday night. They are still young greyhounds, Barry, and there was a bit of traffic in a few of the contests, but I think it's safe to say this is a deep Kirby once again. Some very, very fine displays, but nothing sort of just came to the fore and went, I'm the dog to beat. I think there's a good 10, 12, 14 dogs there you wouldn't mind having a little nibble on if the price was right. Cracking racing throughout. Anything in particular catch your eye before we start flicking through them?
I think the very first heat, the very first winner, Toolmaker Giuseppe, was very, very good for Rod Gleeson. Out of that wonderful litter, Droopy Sydney, Droopy's Dancer, of course, her brother to Droopy's Kathleen. The other wild for Jennifer O'Donnell was 4 from 4, wasn't he, unbeaten? And this Toolmaker Giuseppe was stopped on a couple of occasions and still powered through to win by a length and a half and was gone further clear into the pickup. So yeah, I know he's not the fastest on the clock, but 28.48, I thought he was very, very impressive. Probably is going to need the gaps to appear. I don't think he has stunning early pace, but yeah, he caught my eye in the first heat, Toolmaker Giuseppe.
He's a monster. He's absolutely incredibly fast, Barry. And the strength and the power.
I must just say that the trio dividend for a 4-6 winning favourite, 15 to 8 second favourite for fair play to Limerick, paid over 220 quid for that. So, well, we're keeping an eye on that.
Nice. His brother Jack Tavern Boom was actually a short head second in the last heat. You'll be happy to say he was second. Fun in the Run was a winner for you. Decent winner. But let's get through them. Again, very impressive start. Toolmaker Giuseppe beating the Other Wild. I think the Other Wild looked like he probably hadn't had an awful lot of work done since winning it at Clonmel. I'm sure he'll come on first. He has lovely early speed, the Other Wild. Certainly a greyhound to look forward to. Kornikova was a good winner of the second heat. Droopy's Deploy probably had the race at his mercy a little bit at the third bend. Checked his stride when going through the gap. Probably looked like he hadn't seen too much of Limerick. And dogs do tend to do that. Limerick. It is. For all that it looks straightforward, it can be a bit quirky. It does take dogs a little while to get used to the place, but Tom Ahern and Pat Buckley will be delighted with Kornikova. She just seems to get better and better every time she goes to the track.
Yeah, she was a Juvenile Classic finalist, wasn't she, recently? And she won her semi-final of the Juvenile Classic as well. But as you mentioned, Droopy's Deploy looked the likely winner going into the third bend. He's coming back from Newcastle. It'll probably take him a while to get used to the track as well. But it was probably one of the heats of the round on paper, Ian. Razzle Edwards didn't look to be striding out with full purpose past the line for me. Unfortunately, he went out. But Pain Barrier, we've seen how good he was around Shelbourne Park there recently. Demon Joe, no slouch either. But Kornikova, strong sort out in front. Droopy's Deploy, I'm sure they're still going to be happy enough with that. But for connections of Demon Joe and Pain Barrier, that was just about getting through that heat because it was red hot.
Yeah, Gallant Hunter's a professional. He won heat 3. He's one of those dogs where if you leave him alone, he'll go out and do his 28, 40 or 50 every night of the week. I do think he's vulnerable from the third bend, and I thought he was seriously vulnerable the other evening. I thought Silent Cobby clipped the fence just coming off the last bend. He seemed to be arriving with a rush, seemed to clip something, checked off, and then the run didn't, happen. He's beaten 4.5 lengths. I don't think it's a reflection of how the race went. But Gallant Hunter, just a thorough professional. I don't think he'll win the Kirby, but it certainly wouldn't surprise me to see him go another 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, he was very good in a few rounds of the Dublin Cup, and I think his last run in Shelbourne Park before he went to the Kirby, he was good as well. It beat a good field from Trap 1. I had a few quid in him there on Saturday night. He's a little bit deceptive. He does kick again now towards home, but look, definitely something happened to Silent Cobby. Originally, we thought that maybe did Gallant Hunter cut him off, but I think you're right. I think he just clipped the rails. It's quite hard to see, but yeah, something definitely happened. If you had to pause the race there and said Gallant Hunter's going to win by 4.5 lengths, you're saying no. He'd be lucky to hang on, but he's very, very good, very professional. He is maybe 3 or 4 lengths off the top dogs, but he's a good trapper and he's got good early pace and he's with a good man in Ollie Bray.
Yeah, he certainly does. Ollie knows the time of day. Derby winning trainer, of course. Couple of Ballymac winners for different sets of connections, obviously enough. Ballymac Axel, who is trained, of course, in the UK by
Maxine Locke, I think, hasn't
Maxine Locke, owned by the JR Racing Syndicate, who are putting plenty of money into it. They suggested this time last year they were going to put a few quid into it, and they've had a category 1 and some really good dogs have emerged in recent times. And this Ballymac Axel, Ballymac Cooper at a JT Pearl, she throws some fast ones, doesn't she? She's had English Derby finalists in the past, Hello Hammond and others. But this Ballymac Axel, I'd seen plenty of him in the UK. And as I describe him, he's a dog that is a good all-rounder, seems to have pace everywhere. And I was a bit surprised and I must be said, impressed by his run the other evening. He showed real strength. He's turning third. He's sort of relegated to 4th, but then flies down at the third bend to go second. He absolutely hammers home to win by 2 lengths from Bogger Pat, who's shown good early speed. Great to see English representation. Also great to see them have a winner.
Yeah, it is. You, like we've seen the crack we had last year with the Irish Derby with a couple of English runners, so it does help sort of promote it and keep it going over there in the UK as well, interest-wise. But Ballymac Axel, he was very impressive to me. Bogger Pat, I think he was a recent purchase there, wasn't he? Just recently joined Pat Buckley. But look, he might have been a little bit disappointing, but you don't know how his first week or two has went with Pat Buckley. He might be a dog that just takes time to settle in. So there was a few people who were disappointed with his run. I'd certainly give him another chance. I know myself, different dogs can take time just to settle into their new surroundings.
It's only a fortnight since he did 28-24 around Limerick. So
exactly, yeah. So he'll step forward, I've no doubt. But Ballymac Axel, he was very, very impressive to me. Just looking at some of his sectionals in the UK from Oxford and Newcastle, I don't think he's blessed with huge early pace, but from the second bend home there the other night, he was very, very impressive indeed.
Very impressive. Yeah, really taken by him. Like really taken by him. I was also pretty taken by the first and second in Heat 5. Ballymac Nash did everything right. Ballymac Kingdom, a Ballymac cameo, an all Liam Dowling affair there. Ballymac cameo means that he's a half brother to a certain Ballymac Ariel, one of my old pals. But Ballymac Nash did it right. He did move off the fence, it must be said, in the early yards. Drifted out a little bit to maybe 2 or 3, but he wins comfortably. 28-37, 16-04. The previous Heat winner 16-02, by the way. When you break it 15 down in Limerick, you're doing well. Gallant Hunter did a 15.98. We'll get to 1 or 2 went quicker earlier on, but Ballymac Nash very impressive. Thought Bartlemy Mainu ran a fantastic first and second bend, stayed on very well. Supercharged ran very well in third on debut. Can only improve for that, but Ballymac Nash is probably the dog you take out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, super pedigree, as you say, but yeah, you would take the top 2 over. Ballymac Nash, very, very good. He only won by a length, but he never really looked in any trouble. And I'm just speaking about your old buddy there, Ballymac Ariel. She has a few on the ground now at the moment. A few have already raced, but if you click into her litter and see them now, there's some very, very promising dogs in her first litter, just about to hit the tracks now as well. So the future looks bright for her as a mum.
We'll see. We'll move on to Heat 6. It was a 5-dog affair, trap 1 and non-runner waiting in the wings. Stone Park Brown on racing debut showed tremendous early speed, 15.88 to the third bend. Like, that's unbelievable running. He's a half-brother to a certain Coulivanny Hoffa, but he did notably tire, and he finishes back in third. Like, don't get me wrong, he's only beaten 2 1/4 lengths at 28-33. It's a hell of a debut, but lots to like about Brightside Bill. It's in our nature, Barry, when you see a dog with seven races, 6 seconds and a third, you start throwing doubts. And I hadn't seen much of him, so I wasn't really sort of in a position to judge him. So I said I'd watch it. I liked what he did. He's prominent all the way. He finishes with purpose. He opens his counting some style, 28-33. It won't be the last race this fellow will win. He can run a bit. And Ballymac Sorrel, he's just a really strong running greyhound, yet to finish out of the first 2, and you can see why. Just keeps going. A dog that does a bit of everything. He starts, he stays, he moves well down the back. He's going to be led into the corner most nights, and there are dogs that probably will go faster than the back straight, and there are dogs that probably finish faster than him. But he does all 3 very well.
Yeah, a nice type, Ballymac Sorrel. Stone Park Brown was impressive. He was impressive. I know he only finished third, but his trials suggest he has lots and lots of early pace, and he did show that. So hopefully he'll tighten up and come forward. Still doing 28-49 on debut in defeat. But
bit early to guess, but whatever about the Kirby, like Dundalk is calling, isn't it?
Yeah, the 400 looks tailor-made. But yeah, look, we need to give him a couple more runs before we think about him as a sprinter. But Brightside Bill, yeah, very good. Great weekend for Eugene Buckley as well. We'll touch on a little bit later on. He won the Cork Oaks down in Cork with Silver Hill Freya, so he also wants Brightside Bill. So a good night for Eugene, Graham Holland, and I'm sure they're looking forward to the next round with this fella.
Yeah, 1 or 2 firms with a very big price, but Lemon Joey, compared to what we know he's capable of, Barry, we would have seen him in the flesh winning at the National Puppy Stake in 28-15. On that night, looked a dog with the world at his feet. He hadn't won since then, believe it or not. It was clear after about 3 strides on Saturday night that he wasn't just going to win, he was going to absolutely dance on them, because he flashed out 15.93, 28-35. He's a talented greyhound. If he keeps trapping like that, he's a player.
Yeah, and I think he was almost favoured to win the juvenile, wasn't he? He was very well fancied to win it. And look, he's obviously appreciated a step back down to a sort of puppy company, if you get me. But yeah, he maybe lost 4 or 5 races in a row at Shelbourne Park. But when you look at what he was running against, these were the best races in the country every weekend, and running against some real top performers. So he did appreciate I'm going to call it a slight ease in grade, back with sort of dogs his own age and with puppies. But 28-35, very, very impressive winner, won by 7 lengths. Solo Mio ran well back in second place, another one for Coulivanny Hoffa. He started.
Go on, put your heart into it there, Barry. Come on.
What?
Oh, Sole Mio!
Oh, no, not a chance of it, not a chance of it. Yeah, a good one for his sire, Coulivanny Hoffa, who started his career well enough and out of Palermo. Of course, he was the dam of, what will we call him? Will we call him Kildare?
The artist formerly known as Kildare.
Kildare, Mr. Cham. Of course, he started his career off in this race unraced, Kildare, before going on to bigger and better things. So,
but Lemon Joey, Solomio's brother won later on. We'll get to him in a moment. Just sticking out star on Ballymac to bet, by the way. Stick a star on Ballymac to bet. This is the Greyhound. Oh, this is a Greyhound. Now, it may not be over 525 and it may not be over 550 and it may not even be over 575, but by God, this is a Greyhound. Um, I cannot wait until he steps up and trip, right? Let's
So,
just
so
say that.
we're talking about the first round of the Kirby, and we already have the Dundalk Spring Cup winner and the Cornwall Hullen winner for later on in the year. Right, let's go. Heat number 8.
I'll tell you what, Barry, you may clip this, star that little part there now, right? Because you will never, ever hear the end of it if that happens, okay?
I'll have to do the double now.
Right, on to Heat 8 of the Conor Kirby Memorial. And again, left corner back, 28-24, 15.99. So he's coming home. He's also going up well. He didn't hit the lids. He showed great early speed. I've liked this fella for some time. Obviously, I do the reporting for Enniscorthy. He looked a really bright prospect down there. There's not a lot to him. He's 67 pounds, Barry. But I'll tell you one thing, this fella can run. He's a really nice greyhound for Thomas Lahey, who's not a bad golfer either. I was lucky enough to play golf with Thomas one time, and he's a shrewd golfer and clearly a shrewd man with a greyhound.
Yeah, this looks an exciting prospect, as you were mentioning about Enniscorthy. He ran well down there in a couple of the early rounds of that competition. And look, visually, he was probably one of the most impressive winners of the night here, 28-27. I think that's near enough the fastest first round.
24, wasn't it?
28-27 he won it. But was that the fastest of the first round?
Oh, 27, sorry.
Near
I believe
enough, anyway.
so. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so very, very impressive. Goes on to win by 6.5 lengths. He's won last time out as well. So, look, 68 pound. He weighed in at the other night. If you're small enough, if you're big enough, you're good enough. It doesn't matter. 68 pound nowadays is probably considered a small dog, but if you're going back 20 years ago, it was an average sized dog, wasn't it? An average sized dog was 70 pounds. So, look, some of the best dogs I ever had were small. So, look, the weight doesn't really matter.
No, absolutely not. We have to give a mention. Here comes Sid, his young sire. A dog with a very, very curtailed career. He'd started off with a bang. He showed unbelievable pace around Shelbourne Park on a couple of occasions. He was actually trained by Mert, and it's good to see him. Good to see him producing some fast dogs. And left cornerback, certainly one to keep an eye on. Tally Ho Sox was back in second, and third was She Be the One. She Be just showing enough early speed to get herself in trouble. She needs a clear passage, but we know she can run. Now, she does a 28-13 around Limerick recently, and she actually showed plenty of pace in the feet again the other evening. If she gets a clear passage, she's able to put it up to most of these dogs. So just keep an eye on her. Just don't go looking at the form. Oh, she's beaten 9 lengths like that. That doesn't sort of reflect what she's capable of. Moving on to Heat 9, and this was Lombardy. Out of Palermo, of course, we did reference him for Mary Gilbert and Aidan Comerford. Toolmaker Quick was challenging for much of the way, checked on the third bend and then faded completely out of contention to finish last. And in the end, it was Snazzy Boss, I believe, came in as a reserve. Snazzy Boss was a fast finishing second, 28-88. You don't like to say, oh, the winner of the Kirby's not going to come from this, but it'd be somewhat surprising if it did.
Yeah, look, 28-88, you're not going to win a Kirby doing 28-88, but look, he's now won 3 of his 4 starts. You'd love to have him, you really would. He's got a superb pedigree, and nice to see Des and Mary making the long trip down there and getting the winner. They went close in the Kirby a couple of years ago. I know the name of the dog. Do you, Eno?
I'd have to contact Agent Stanley to find out that one.
Go on, Eno. Yeah, he ran really well in the Kirby a couple of years ago, so hopefully they can go through another couple of rounds with him. But yeah, look, the time's not flashy, but it's all about qualifying, isn't it?
He's the type of dog who's going to win a load of races because he's not doing huge clocks, but he has huge early speed. So, he gets out in front and you got to come and catch him. When he does win, he's not outgrading himself. You know what I mean? He's not going to, don't get me wrong, he's probably down as, he's probably, what is he? He's still an A1 dog
A1, yeah.
After 28-88, yeah. Let's move on. Onto Heat 10, and this went to Fay Point Ranger. He has now been promoted again. I think he probably was already disputing favoritism, but he's now favourite, Fay Point Ranger. He, another son of Coulivanny Hoffa, tremendous early speed, Barry. There was a lot of talk about this fella around Clonmel. It didn't happen for him in the final. He does need to get off the front, but I think most nights he will be off the front because he really does have fantastic early dash. Very impressive, 28-30, 15.94 under that 16-second barrier. Just a proper performance.
Yeah, very impressive indeed. And he was well fancied to go and win that Rural Challenge event down in Clonmel. And when you look what came out of that final, Brightside Bill, we see him win. The other Wild ran a cracker. in the first heat, and Two-Maker Giuseppe actually just got up to beat the other Wild, and here we have Fate Point Ranger. So it really turned out to be a cracking competition. But yeah, he was very, very good. Again, a wide margin winner, 8 lengths, 4-7. Favourite backers never had any doubt. And look, speaking about left cornerback being a small dog at 68, this is a big lad, 83 pound, but he handled himself very, very well, and yeah, he deserves to be one of the favourites.
Yeah, looks a proper professional greyhound, no question about it. Just looking at those behind him, a 1-2 for Graham Holland. Bush Park Rodney was in second. I put a little star on Born Braver for Jennifer O'Donnell. He's actually a brother to left corner back. He's 75 pounds. I thought he showed pockets. Of pace. I think he's still quite green. I think there's better to come from him. Just keep an eye on him. Moving on to the penultimate heat of the round, and this went to Adamant Conqueror. Good for John Rainsford, who is part of the furniture at Limerick. He's trained plenty of good dogs in the past. I think he had a dog who went deep into the Kirby a few years ago. I could be mistaken. I'll have to check back on that, but I'll tell you what, in Adam and Conqueror, he's a proper one. 3 from 3, 28-37 the other night, does everything right. 5-4 favourite. The locals knew Barry, and this fellow emerged a pretty comfortable winner. 16-12, 4-14. Suggests he's doing it sort of everywhere. Just a nice dog.
Yeah, he's a lovely card. Obviously, he's 3 from 3, but just his trials, he only seemed to start at the start of this year, and like his first trial wasn't flashy. I think it was maybe 29.90 or 30 seconds or something like that, but he's just improving. And as you mentioned, 28.53 in his first win, 28.50 in his second win, and 28.37 here last week. So we just don't know where the ceiling is with this lad. Very, very impressive. Nice for the local lads of Rainsford to have a winner down there, and a real live chance going forward into the second round. So yeah, 3 from 3. You can't ask for much better than that.
Yeah, it'd be no surprise to me or you if you did 28-20 next week.
Yeah, you could easily go that way, because his card just suggests that he probably only did start his career in maybe January, February, and he's just getting better and better. So yeah, I can see him going quicker. But I must say, I think the trap draw is going to be crucial in this event. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Clulavani Shona was in second. She ran a hell of a race. She remains a maiden, but we've seen enough of her in Shelbourne Park, Barry, to know she can run a bit. Like, she was beaten 12.5 lengths by Drewby's Kathleen. You know what I mean? And she did 28.45 that night. Just that's just mind blowing. Imagine being beaten 12.5 lengths and doing 28.45. But like, she's very strong, and when she turned in behind, I went, you have your hands full here, mate. And Adam and Conqueror was very much up to the task. A really likeable display. Big run by Coulivanny Shown in second. It's surely only a matter of time before she wins for the first time after 12 starts. But as we've said, she's been keeping the best of company. Magical Todd was back in third. That was his first defeat, but he's a nice young prospect. He'll improve. And so to the final heat, and great to see the Malone family with a decent dog. We saw this fun in the run the back end of last year at Shelbourne Park. A couple of big runs in his card. It was Juvenile Derby he ran in, and then maybe the National Puppy Stake. Obviously bred in the purple, Malachy out of Love Island. He's a half brother. He's a half brother to Nocky and Dazzler. Yeah. But this fun in the run, what he does have is he's got a bit of everything. But the other night he had to, because Jack Tavern Boom was coming at him hard and fast, but fun in the run, showed good speed to get to the front, and once doing so, opened up a decisive lead. Jack Tavern Boom got a lovely passage around that second bend and really did finish like a train. I know Noel Byrne of the Pillar Syndicate believes that this Jack Tavern Boom could be a star over further in time. Hard not to disagree with him. But just a very likeable display by both the winner and the second.
Yeah, I was looking back at some videos at the start of last week, actually, and I came across this fun in the run. I think it was in the juvenile that he ran in. He was running against the likes of Callaway Kinnegare and those sort of dogs, Lemon Joey. But he was very, very good. And I just seen his trial back, 18.50. There was nothing wrong with that. So I've had a few quid on him at 66s to win it. And look, I know the lads think an awful lot of Jack Tavern Boom, but I think they would have rather see him closer to the fence. So I had a few quid on fun in the run on Saturday night. And down the back straight, you said to me, I think you just finished your commentaries, you said to me, 5 stays, and I was thinking, yeah, he might stay, but he's not going to get too close to this. But my God, did he hammer home? And he's certainly the dog to take from the race, Jack Tavern Boom. They're 5 lengths clear at the third. Huge performances by both first and second. You'll expect both of them to step forward. They will need to. Fun the run, that's his first run of the year. Jack Tavern Boom, it's only the second run of his career, but if they were to be running a match race next week, I know which one I'd like to side with. Jack Tavern Boom again from that.
Yeah, a match race is very different to a 6-dog race in the Kirby, isn't it?
But he's got a brilliant leader as well by his sister, Drippy's Kathleen.
anyone to think I'm on commission from Liam Dowling. Ballymac Abel in third. He can run. He's green. He's raw. He's actually a brother to the Ballymac Axel dog. He's out of JT Pearl as well. He was actually in a lovely position at the opening corner, just checked off. The gap closed, was sent back to last spot. He finishes third. If you look back, he's third in a sprint at Tralee on February 28th. Oh, he showed all sorts of pace. Showed all sorts of pace, and the fact that they threw him into the Juvenile Classic, he got knocked over on debut, and then last week crowded, run up, ran on. I would say just the better the company, the better this fellow will run. Just don't be surprised if Ballymac Abel turns into a proper greyhound. The Kirby might be too soon for him, but just don't be surprised if he turns into a proper greyhound. It's an intriguing Kirby Memorial, Barry. It's hard to call, but there are two or three you'd take out of the opening round, surely.
Yeah, but I still maintain the trap draw is going to be absolutely crucial. It really, really is. And if I was to give you three against the field, I've already had a few quid on Fun on the Run. I thought Jack Tavern Boom was very, very good in the feet. And also the dog in the first race, Toolmaker Giuseppe. I think those three could go deep into the competition.
Yeah, I like Giuseppe a lot. He's really, really strong. Big engine on him. Really strong. The other Wild showed great early speed. I'm not going to put my I don't know. I don't know what way to go, to be honest. I'm sort of still confused by it all. There's a lot to come from some of the dogs that were in behind. Hard not to be impressed by Ballymac Axel. You know, it's just great to see a UK contender. Ballymac Lucia, did she progress? She did progress, didn't she? So they have two there still. Ballymac Lucia was running in the opening heat, and she finished. Yeah, she finished fourth. She's very strong as well. She's obviously out of Ballymac Merkel, who produces stamina, just loads and loads of stamina. So yeah, there's lots to look forward to. As you said, Barry, trap draw will be all important. Jack Tavern Boom, I noticed he is a middle seed. You think they'd consider changing the seeding?
I think they did. I think he's got trap one this weekend. I think originally the lads wanted to seed him on the inside, but I think the racing manager had a look at one of his races or trials and decided he wanted to put him in the middle. So that's why I sided with Fun on the Run the weekend, because I thought he might move over and give him plenty of room. But there's obviously been a change. They've got together with the race manager, and I see he's drawn trap one in the second round. So obviously he's been seeded inside.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some very fast greyhounds in it. Each way bet. Ballymac to bet. Just as a small each way bet, Ballymac to bet. I think he's available at fancy prices. He is immensely strong. My God, his pace from the second bend home was pretty astonishing. He's out of Ballymac Minton, who was the dam of the Laurels runner-up. What was her name? Ballymac, big finisher.
Oh, Whisper,
that's right.
Yeah.
She won the Kingdom Derby. Then she picked up Ballymac Finn on the line a few months later. She's
Isn't that amazing? Like a teacher would ask you what's X plus Y, and you'd be sitting there going, and if somebody said, "What was second in Laurels and 20 that Ballymac was?" Something else.
Sign of a youth well spent, Barry. Sign of a youth well spent. It was a very busy week at the weekend, of course. We look forward to the Kirby Memorial, which continues at Limerick on Saturday night. Don't forget, you can watch it all live on Barking Buzz, or indeed SISRacing.tv are covering every single race of this Conn and Annie Kirby Memorial. We'll be live on Virgin TV as well on final night. So keep up to date. We'll be getting more and more in depth into this as the Easter Cups winds down. We'll be focusing completely then on the Kirby Memorial. But a busy weekend on the racing front, Barry. We're going to mention a few. Let's start on Friday night, because the McCalmont Cup went to your pal and mine, Sean Conway. Lot of other news. This was a dog with some exceptional form about a year and a half back. He's really returned to his best in recent times. He's getting on a little bit. He didn't trip over his grey beard. He had a tricky draw out in 5, and he made absolute mockery of the draw. Flashed out, went to the front, wins as he likes, and wins a famous competition that was twice won by Spanish Battleship in the past, the McCalmont Cup. Yeah,
he was very, very good, wasn't he? There was a couple of L stars in this race as well. It didn't get great draws. Kapuka Warrior in 6 for Caravans, but I think he finished third, and a lot of other news.
And Droopy's Bro as well was there.
Exactly, yeah. He went so well in the Derby a couple of years ago, didn't he? I think he might have made a semi-final. But a lot of other news. What a star he's been for Sean Conway and Connections. He's won any amount of races. He's certainly more than paid his way. Picked up another big spot, a big pot here. And I remember being in Sean Conway's about a year ago, and I seen this dog in the flesh, and he just had muscles on his muscles. He was the most magnificent greyhound you've ever seen. I think I mentioned that to you before. He's absolutely stunning looking greyhound, and he's he must be a really real joy to own.
Absolutely. Well done to the Lotto Express Syndicate. They've been involved in the dogs a long number of years now. They've had some really nice types, but a lot of other news in terms of consistency and fun. I'm not sure they've had a better one than this. We're going to move to Cork. Before we get to the Cork Oaks, I just want to mention, Barry, there was a track record broken.
Yes.
The sixth race. No,
sorry, go on.
Not your track record, my track record. Sixth race. The Jared Gubbins Construction 1025. Do you know what the previous best was?
I don't. Go on.
Yeah, it was the first ever 1,025-yard race at Curraheen Park. It was won by Garen Ivey, a son of Black Parachute, daughter of Black Parachute and Droopy's Pen, down to the Saru Syndicate. I'm not sure who's behind this Saru Syndicate, but it's shown plenty of stamina in previous outings, over 750 yards, and got the better of Terrific Tonic, who has proven over 1,025 yards, of course, having won over that trip in the past at Shelbourne Park. But it is great to see these marathon dogs getting a chance earlier in the year. And there is talk that this year's Shelbourne Marathon will be earlier in the year rather than running it in the deep, wet, miserable conditions of winter, giving these dogs the best chance on top of the ground to really see out the 1,025-yard trip. So well done to all involved for running that. Always a great spectacle. Like Garen Ivey, well, perhaps be one to keep an eye on over extreme distances in the future. And now to the final of the Apex Global Resources Limited Cork Oaks. Not one you want to be mentioning when the hair is running, but a bitch that we're both very fond of, Silverhill Freya. She was a fantastic winner of the Christmas Oaks. She started her career down at Curraheen Park. I think she beat Bombay Pat in a little stake down there. She returned to Curraheen Park, and has to be said, she was pretty much faultless to this Cork Oaks, and a good winner. Eugene Buckley again and Graham Holland.
Yeah, look, as you mentioned there, she was a very good winner of a red-hot Christmas Oaks in Shelbourne Park at the end of the year, and now she's won 5 on the bounce. Look, this was a strong final. You had Grange Clare Lady in there, Glengar Martha, who's always a star, Dealish Nora for John McGee. So look, it was a really top-class final, attracted some great bitches, as it would, given the prize money, €7,000 in prize money. And as I say now, Silverhill Freya, she's won almost €25,000 in prize money, another 7,000 there at the weekend for Eugene Buckley. Never looked in any danger, out and gone. She's very strong as well, as we've seen her come from off the pace around Shelbourne Park. But a nice pot to win. I'm sure she'll only have one target coming up in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely. She is definitely one that will be on my radar come Sporting Press Irish Oaks time. Silverhill Freya, really talented lady, just the most willing attitude. We're going to move to Kilcohen Park in Waterford. A couple of finals to note there. The Paddy Sharkey bookmaker and Waterford Track Supporters A2, A3 stake final went the way of Augusta Fairway. Good timing. Augusta's not too far away for the Masters, and this fellow landing the spoils in that competition, landing €2,500 for his lucky owners. The one of our own syndicate, a nice type. I've seen him a couple of times in Shelbourne Park. Just a good, strong running greyhound. And the final then of the Dacia Plastering Novice 730. I cannot stress how much I want to see stayers given more opportunities in 2025 and 2026. Thankfully, the powers that be seem to be doing that. We've seen more 750s at Shelbourne Park recently. Now this 730 stake at Kilcohen Park. Barry, €5,000 to the winner, and suitably threw up 2 or 3 really promising stayers.
Yeah, fair play to the sponsor. Like it's a huge pot, and look, I know you've been championing more staying races, and you did touch on it there. We do see more of them in Shelbourne Park now, and it's just a different perspective for punters, isn't it? You get bored of the 525s and the usual stuff, and it's a different sort of a conundrum to solve, different puzzle to solve. But more distance racing. I know you're a big fan of that, but fair play to the sponsors. It was a good evening, let's say, down there in Waterford.
Absolutely. And it went to Banter Boost. Banter Boost, trained by Owen McKenna for Patter and Sarah O'Dwyer. He is a son of Roxham Olaf and Banter Breeze. Not the biggest prize won by the litter this weekend. Can you tell me who else won from the litter?
I can't.
The TV trophy was run yesterday.
Mongeys Wild. Yes.
Mongeys Wild. The TV trophy was won yesterday at Toaster by Mongeys Wild, winning in 57.41, taking a full half second off the track record of his litter sister, or not his litter sister, his kennel companion, who had the track record.
Before that,
she was 4th yesterday's final, actually.
Bubbly.
And I've already mentioned her dam.
Ballymac Katie. Is it Taylor?
Taylor. Taylor Mungy's Wild, a
80
tremendous
Taylor.
winner. But getting back to this novice 730, Banter Boost really has taken to the six spends. Obviously, the litter, they're all very, very strong. One of them actually ran very well in the dual distance at Shelbourne Park the other evening as well. Brackguile Roxy in second spot. But this Banter Boost went unbeaten through the competition. 40-56 in the final. He did 40-47 in the semi-finals. Regimental ran a big race in second spot. I think he's found his niche. He's yet to win over six bends, but he's been absolutely flying home. And he's more trappy than he has looked down there. He can trap. So I'd expect there's a big run in him. Just don't be surprised if he turns into a serious Cork-Cullen contender. And Priceless on Ice didn't happen for her in the final, but she has run very well over the distance also. Just great to see the stayers getting a chance. Barry, you want to give a quick mention to a young pup that did actually, on the other extreme, over a sprint trip that caught your eye.
Yeah, just a couple of things before we finish up. I thought Le Pepinillo deserves a mention for winning the Guys and Dolls at Shelbourne on Friday night. Very, very professional greyhound.
Have you ever seen a stake won as easily as comfortably? Bar, let's say, Bocco's Diamond. He was just flawless.
Yeah, but you know what? How many times have we seen a dog to first round, to second round, to semi-final, bang, 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 and then when it comes to the final, you're just thinking. Yeah. But no, he has the form over 750 as well. So once he does that start, you're never going to pick him up. A nice prize to win, a very nice sort. Be interesting to see now how he copes with a step back up in grade. And yeah, just before I finish, I seen this yesterday on Twitter from John Kennedy, a dog called Good Tank by Good Cody out of Dealish Oreo, clocked 17-11 for a 3-2-5 trial. I think it was around.
How did you just spot that? Like, were you just randomly going through, or?
No, I'm not that sad. They had it up on Twitter. I was just scrolling through. I don't literally sit on the computer all day looking at Greyhound trials. Kennedy's put it up yesterday on Twitter, so that caught my eye.
Wow.
I myself. So huge run by Good Tank.
Dealish Oreo was Ballymac Shirley. Ballymac Shirley's Ballymac Scarlet. Who is Ballymac Scarlet the dam of? A Derby winner.
Ballymac Scarlet. I don't know.
Ballymac Matt. And she was also the dam of a dog called Ballymac Big Mike. Do you remember him? Really top class sprinter.
Wide running Ballymac Big, or no, Tyra Big Mike I'm thinking of.
Ballymac Big Mike was a sprinter trained by Robert Gleeson, a very talented dog. I think we've covered everything, Bar. I think we've covered everything. As soon as we get off, we're going to realize, we forgot that. What I do have to mention is make sure to like and subscribe. Of course, we are also now available on Spotify, so check that out if you are on Spotify. It could be handy to listen to in the car. But please do like and subscribe. It boosts our sort of our spread, shall we say, and anything that's getting the good word of Greyhound racing out there in the public can only be a good thing. Don't forget to check out Barry Drake, his Talking Dog podcast on Thursday morning. Last week he spoke to Robert Gleeson, who gave us a bit of an update on Drummies Kathleen. We look forward to seeing her back on the track in the very near future. But that's it from us on this Monday. My thanks again to the good doctor, Dr. Simon. Hopefully we will get to see him at Shelbourne Park. A great character, a great fella, and to the other fella, Barry Caul, I suppose I better say thank you for your wonderful company again this morning, Barry. I look forward to seeing you at the weekend.
Well, indeed. All the best.
Well, that's it from us on this Talking Dogs on Monday. We'll see you next time. Again, like and subscribe. And don't forget to check out Barry Drake on Thursday. That's it. Good luck. Good evening. God bless. This podcast was brought to you by Greyhound Racing Ireland.